Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of Chord Expansion. This week we are going to be doing a culmination of everything that we've gone over in the first 3 episodes. We covered major 7, minor 7, and dominant 7 chord voicings going all the way up to scales on the top 4 strings. And now we're going to combine these voicings together to come up with 2-5-1 progressions going through every note of the scale again up on the top 4 strings. So we are going to do this in the key of F major. And we're going to use different combinations of all the voicings that we've gone over in the first 3 episodes. So obviously 2-5-1, we're going to start out with G minor. So we're going to start out building a 2-5-1 with the G note on top of each of the voicings. So I will run you through one example each, and if you would like the additional examples that aren't covered in this video, you can become a patron at patreon.com/MikeGaudetteMusic for $5 a month. So we're going to start with G minor 7, and we want to keep the G note on top for all 3 voicings. So the most obvious example would be just the stock G minor 7 voicing. And now if we want to do a C7 chord that also has the G on top, we could just move the F down to E. That gives us a C9, right? And then we want to do our 1 chord, F major, with the G on top, so we can do this. F major 9, right? So now we have a 2-5-1 with G staying constant on top of every chord. And then obviously we can do variations on that depending on what kind of voicings we want, right? If we have that C9 chord right there, we can flat the 9 if we want. Then we have, right, this 1 chord, this F major 9. If we want to make it Lydian, we can do the open B, get a little bit more of a modern sound. Right, so a lot of different variations. So you could start with that and just, mess around with moving some of the notes around, come up with all these different little 2-5-1 progressions in one position, not one position, but, in, kind of the same area with the same notes staying the same on top. So now the next one we want to do, we just did G, now we want to do A. So this is going to be the 9 of our 2 chord, the 13 of our 5 chord, and the 3rd of our 1 chord. So one of the most obvious examples would be going like this, G minor 9. And then once again, lower the F down to E, and we get the C13. And then our 1 chord, F major 7. Right, so now we have. So the first 2 we got are. And then. Okay, now this next one gets interesting. So now we're going to have the B flat on top, which would be the 3rd of the minor chord. G minor 7. Now we can make the C7 flat 9 if we want to keep the B flat on top. Now here is the one spot where we have to change the note. We talked about this in the major 7 episode, where typically you don't have a natural 4 on the top of a chord, right? If I did that, not going to work, right? It wants to resolve down or up. So what we could do, we could either go back down to the 3rd, or we can do what we were talking about, turn it into Lydian, raise the 4 up to the sharp 4. And that's a really interesting sound. So if we do that, we get this. So you get the ascending movement as opposed to the descending movement. So either one, whatever you prefer. Or, okay, a couple options there. Now the next one we're going to have is the C note on top. So for the C, that would be the 11 of the 2 chord, the root of the 5 chord, and then the 5 of the 1 chord. So we could do G minor 11. Then we can lower these 2 notes, make it C7 flat 9. And then F major 7. Right, that's a pretty one. Okay, now we want to go up and have D on top. So we could do, which is the D would be the 5 of the G minor, the 9 of the C7, and then the 6 of the 1 chord, the F major. So we could do this, G minor 9. Lower the F to E, we get C13. And then make F major 13. All right, I like that one. And I'm getting all of these voicings from the chords that we went over in the first 3 episodes. I'm just making all different kinds of combinations of those voicings. So just by taking all of those voicings, you can come up with dozens and dozens of 2-5-1s, within all of these different positions, which will really help out your chord voicing vocabulary a lot. So the next one we're going to do is the E note on top. So this is another interesting one. So we get this G minor 13. right? Same thing that we did for the G minor 9, but we raise the D up to E now. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two middle notes and lower it. That gives me this really pretty C7 sharp 5, which actually has the third doubled. We have 2/3, which I typically don't like to do, but in this case I think it works well with this voicing. And then F major 7, right, with the 7 on top. So, okay, and we only have one more. So now we want to get the F note on top. So the F is going to be the flatted 7 of the G, the 4 of the C7 chord, and then the root of the F. So this one is a little bit interesting. I like this for the minor 9, G minor 9. Now right here, I like to do this. So I would call that C7 sus flat 9. So think of your C sus chord, because we have the 4 on top, so we have to make it some type of sus chord. But then take the C and raise it a half step. That's a cool sound. 7 sus flat 9. And then for the F, you could do a 6/9. Okay, so let me run through everything we just did. G on top, now A on top. Now B flat on top for the first two. I'm going to make it Lydian. 11 on top, or C on top. D on top. E on top. And then F on top. Okay, and like I said, the Patreon has, a ton of other examples, a lot of additional voicings and different possibilities, some more open, modern sounding voicings, as well as some more traditional voicings as well. So this is really helpful, and it really helps with chord melodies too, because if you have a standard that you're trying to build a chord melody for, now you're going to have all of these different voicings that give you all of these different options depending on what note is in the top of the chord, whether it's a chord tone or a color tone. So it covers all of those different notes. So yeah, that's it. That's the episode for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something, and I will see you guys at the next episode. Take care.